the other thing that's happened over the last couple of weeks is some NBA coaching hires. And on one side, I like it because, coach, you and I always talk about not enough, black coaches in the NBA.
Yeah.
The number's been going down. It's, although they're both ex-players, which is something, non-players still they haven't been hired, but that's a story for another day. But with the Jason Kidd and Chauncey Billups hires in Dallas and Portland, something else came out about their past. So one in Billups was accused, settled out of court. The other kid pled guilty to assault, domestic, against his wife. And there was a lot of noise about hiring coaches who have this background. So I know that it's a tough one because, hey, you made a mistake, you did something wrong, you go through the steps to rehabilitate your career, do all this stuff. And I guess there's two questions. So I'll start with the first one is, does everybody deserve a second chance? Or as leaders, in this case, leaders of men, should they be held to a higher standard and not get a second chance?
Go for it, Dust.
Pass that one off right to you like a hot potato.
I mean, so I've known coaches that have passed and that are working and still great people, and they've moved on from situations. Is it the same? We having the same conversation? If Jason Kidd goes and gets a job in an office and is working in a cubicle, I don't know the answer, right? So I think because of the job and because of the platform and because of the spotlight, that's a conversation that just seems to happen. Is it because of minority coach that we want to focus on the past? I don't know. You know what I mean? People make mistakes, man. Everybody's an adult, and sometimes, things get away. I also think there's an accountability and responsibility to, handling certain situations. The second chance, to me, I don't know if that's the right conversation, because Jason Kidd is, from a basketball player standpoint, what he knows in that sport, he's elite, right? And so there's no doubt that he can coach, and that incident is not going to prevent him from being a great coach.
Yeah. Well, that's part two of the question, because last year he was an assistant in LA. So why is it okay to, no one made any noise about him being an assistant? Right? It's only now that he's become a head coach again, right? It's not like he's also been a head coach before.
I think that because people want to have a conversation. Coach Jackson and I, we have an open dialogue about minority coaches, not just in NFL, NBA, whatever it is. It just bothers me personally, when situations like this occur, and it's because of them being a minority coach in whatever professional sport that they're in, and we're gonna focus in on it, we're gonna zoom in on it. That's the most important thing right now. Not all the things that he's done, not only as a player, but like you said, obviously having coached in the league and what he did for the United States as a basketball player for Team USA. He's was and is the best man for the job, right? You know what I mean? So that to me is what is the most important thing.
Yeah.
Is that he was hired to do that job. Does he have a past?
I get pissed off.
Yeah.
I get pissed off by the whole thing, because obviously I've been watching this for years now. You take Eric Bieniemy, they go dig up what happened in college. You take, Jason Kidd and obviously Billups. They go dig on stuff that happens with minority coaches. The narratives change real quickly to this guy's a bad guy. It doesn't happen the other way. If it was fair and that's what they were doing, each side, I have no problem with it. But it is always them digging into the minority coach and then bringing something out. I don't care what it is, the slightest of things. And they're going to put it out there in the street so everybody can hear it. I'm tired of that. That's ridiculous. Those guys are the best guys for the job. What happened 20 years ago. Everybody deserves a second chance.
Yeah, but Billups, I think, was still Billups. I think both of them actually might have still been players at the time.
Yes. Anthony, this is ridiculous. We keep talking about where we are today. Okay, forgiveness and moving forward and people doing better and being better and maturing and doing good things. That's all talk.
Anthony, let me ask you this. If Cameron Kinley was a white football, are you familiar with the Cameron Kinley situation with Naval Academy?
Fill us all in, just for those that I'm this much, but for anyone listening that might not be fully aware, give us a short background.
Navy football player, president of his class, great, outstanding member of his institution. Was, you know, he first denied the ability to go play with the Buccaneers, right? And so there was a petition that was done, and they, I don't know if it was the Secretary of Defense or whoever signed off on it from the Pentagon, came out recently within the last day and has granted him the ability to go play. And the amount of bullshit, for lack of a better term, for people saying that he's un-American, he doesn't care about his country, he, you know, we should get our money back, taxpayers paid his tuition. It's bullshit to me. This kid worked his ass off. He represented the institution at a very high level. I don't know the kid personally, so I'm viewing it from a 20,000-foot view. Are we having the same conversation if that's a white student athlete? I don't know. Are we? You know, I personally don't think we are.
Well, so, can we dig up, like if we went and dug up the DUIs and the assaults and the whatevers from every coach, you know, is there one that would be squeaky clean? Is there anyone that has nothing in their past?
No. I mean, I'm not, I hate to bring up old things, but we've had a coach in the National Football League snort cocaine on his desk. On his desk. And the guy is rehabilitated. Nobody says anything. He's making over $1.5 million today. And he's Caucasian. And nobody even talks about how he got back to where he was. Nobody says anything. It's ridiculous.
Well, it's funny how we're all very quick to give certain athletes a second chance if they can help our team, regardless of what they did, right? You know, there's a great quarterback who did some bad things with some dogs that I will tell you to this day, my wife views dogs higher than people. She still will never forgive him for that. But hey, he could help us win. And now, but when it's a coach, well, now we want to have a different conversation, right? If it's a player that can help us win, right? If they're past their prime now, so okay, now they're out of the league forever. So the other part of this, so this was the one question that I got. So because there was this great essay that was written by a Trailblazers fan, and she's like, I don't know that I can be a Blazers fan anymore because they hired Billups. And that's why I brought up the question, because it was really well written. And at the end of it, one of the question was, what if it was your sister or your daughter that they assaulted? Would you feel different?
If they paid their debt to society, I have to let it go. Part of my walk in life is to forgive and move forward. Can't hold grudges against people. You can't move forward yourself if you do that. So there's no question. And when it happened, I've been very pissed off and wanting to rip their heads off. But at the same time, we're talking 20 years ago, 25 years ago. It's time to move on.
Right. What I said was I probably will never like that person. I will never root for him or her even to succeed. But again, I've made mistakes, and I hope that people will forgive me and let me move on with them. So I'm assuming yours is the same, right, Dusty? Or is it, or do you, I don't know if you have a sister or
Yeah, I you know, I echo what Coach says. You know, I mean, if you know you paid your debt to society and you're trying to be better, you know, I'm not speaking on behalf of anybody other than myself. Like, I believe that you have to move forward, right? And